you may not have any money to actually pay for all this, which is kind of funny because remember what she said about confiscating Donald Trump's assets? I think they're going to have to confiscate hers.
4 days after a judge ordered Donald Trump to pay $355 million for a decade of fraud, New York Attorney General Letitia James says she's prepared to do everything she can to make sure the former president pays his fine, including, she told us, seizing the buildings that bear his name.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
So, Letitia, if you do not have the funds to pay for your lawyer, I guess you're just going to have to go with a public defendant then. And then if you don't have the funds to pay the federal government back, I guess they're just going to have to seize your assets. But I digress because it's actually way worse than that. This is not just money. This is actual jail time. Okay, this is like a federal crime that is punishable up to 30 years, ladies and gentlemen, 30 years in prison. So this is pretty darn serious. She says she's totally innocent.
I will respond to these baseless allegations at the appropriate time and in the appropriate way, but I am 100% confident that it will not result in any criminal indictment or action against me, and that it is nothing more than a revenge tour, and that Donald Trump just ultimately got to the J's, and I was next.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Again, it sounds like you.
I wouldn't be so sure because, again, I'm going to go back to the 2023 mortgage that you took out in Norfolk, Virginia, where you insisted that it was actually your primary residence. Don't tell me that was a clerical error, as she's trying to say. Oh, just a clerical error. Just like, signing on as your dad's wife was some kind of clerical error. Just like saying you had 4 levels instead of 5 because you could get a better loan. That was a clerical error too, right? Tishy, honey, no, that's not going to fly. It's just not going to work. Like, you're a lawyer, for goodness sakes. I mean, maybe if you weren't a lawyer, one could say, well, I was naive. I didn't understand. Somebody else did this for me, blah, 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 blah. But no, you're a lawyer. Like, you actually have to know these things. You're held to a different standard, which is another reason why they're probably going to be taking away her bar license. She's not going to be able to practice in the state of New York. I know, Don, you were talking the other day about how she would still be able to probably be AG because you don't actually have to have a license to practice law as the Attorney General, shockingly, in New York. But we'll see. I don't think she's going to be able to make it through the Ethics Committee on this one. But again, I think what's so fascinating here is that she could be facing federal prison and that she's actually not going to have any money if the Republicans get their way to pay for Abby Lowell and defend herself. I mean, why should New York taxpayers have to pay for that, for goodness sake? She's trying to claim it's political because she wants access. You understand, guys, to that money. It's $10 million that she can use to cover her legal costs. So she has to try and say this is political, that it's not personal, even though I think it's pretty clear to all of us it's personal. You're the one that decided to go out on a limb and make a lie for your personal property that you were buying.
I have to ask you, there were reports today that the Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into real estate transactions that you're involved with. I'm not validating that in any way, but I wanted to just ask you if you've received a formal notice of that at this point.
No, not at all. These allegations, Jen, are baseless. They have been discredited, refuted. There was a letter that was prepared by my attorney that was sent to Pam Bondi, the United States Attorney General. And it's unfortunate that President Trump publicly attacked me a few days ago. And as a result of that, he telegraphed to the Department of Justice and to FBI that I should be targeted. You see, this is nothing more than an extension of his revenge, his retribution, and he finally got up to the J's. And so I stand prepared to respond to these baseless attacks with facts. And we look forward, obviously, to further discussions with the Department of Justice or any other individual who leaked this material.
So that's what she's going to continue saying, okay, that it is somehow a political vendetta against her. And that's how she's going to justify being able to use these funds. But again, I don't see it, because if you hadn't actually said you were your dad's wife, if you hadn't actually signed something where you literally state that this is going to be your primary residence while you're the AG in New York, buying a home in Virginia, then we wouldn't be here, right? The irony is sort of just amazing. I can't get over it. It's like Shakespearean. Totally Shakespearean. Anyway, this is the soundbite that she's referring to. She's trying to say Trump wants to get me because it's me. Maybe, but I would say he's very cautious about how he handles this. Listen to how he phrases this. He's like, yes, she's a loser. She's bad for New York, but Pam will do what Pam needs to do, period.
I can say unrelated to that, she's a disaster for New York. She's a horrible, horrible human being. And I think she's a total crook. There's no question about it. But that's just my opinion. Pam's going to have to do what she wants. She's a very bad person. She's a very, very bad person who campaigned solely on, I'm going to get Donald Trump over and over again. She's a sick person. But that has nothing to do with what Pam does. Pam is going to do what's right. She always does. I've known her a long time.
So Pam is doing what's right. Pam was asked by the head of the FHA, William Pulte, to look into this because these would obviously be federal crimes and would set a very, very bad precedent if people think that they can go out and get a federal housing loan saying that this is my primary residence when it's not. That would be a problem, right, for the entire system. It's putting the taxpayer at risk. So William Pulte went to Pam Bondi at the DOJ. Kash Patel at the FBI has launched a criminal investigation, and now the Eastern District of the Virginia Court is issuing subpoenas because they need more information. As for her being political, or him being political, I mean, don't kid yourself. She was going after him before she had ever even found a crime. She campaigned entirely on getting Trump. No.
The President of the United States has complained that I'm engaging in some sort of political witch hunt, that I've got some personal vendetta against him, that I campaigned against him. That is not true.
This illegitimate president who sits in the White House. That president, because he's not my president, he's an illegitimate president. His days are numbered. His days are numbered. We've got to get ready to mobilize, and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won.
Blah, 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 blah. And then there was the, too male, too stale, and too pale. That was another one of her chants. Well, you know what, Letitia, your days are numbered yourself, okay? And you're out of money, and you're not going to be able to pay for any of this. So I think it's kind of fitting that you're going to now have to sell your assets in order to cover your tail with your expensive legal bills if you decide to continue on with one Abby Lowell, the former attorney for one Hunter Biden.